All right, good morning, everyone. Mike Sigler here. I'm going to call the meeting to order of the Housing and Economic Development Committee, Thursday, January 27th, 2022. So call to order, and Kathy, if you could call the roll, please.
Ann Koreman has not joined us yet. Shauna Black.
Here.
Henry Granison is asked to be excused. Greg Mezzi.
Here.
Mike Sigler.
Here.
We have 3 members present.
So we have quorum. We're going to hold off for like a couple minutes, though. Give Annie a little time to hop in. How's that sound, everyone? Yeah, I'll wait even to do the public comment since it's somebody from her town.
The minutes, maybe?
Oh, we could do that. Yeah, I'd like to move the minutes from December 15th, 2021, or I should say, would someone like to move the minutes from December 15th, 2021? We have Greg Mezzi. Do I have a second? Shauna Black. All those in favor of the minutes of December 15th, 2021, say aye or raise your hand, please.
Do a roll call.
Do a roll call.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. All the members are here in the room, so not necessary.
There we go.
Never mind.
We have 3 ayes. All right, we're going to get started. Let's see, public comment. Do we have anybody waiting?
No.
Okay, so I just have this one public comment. It's from Robert Lynch. So I'm just going to read it quick. Dear Chair Koreman, so I just wanted to say I take offense to that. Make a note of that, Mr. Lynch, but not for another week or so. So anyway, I direct your attention to a resolution placed on this morning's committee agenda, resolution 10647, appointments to the Tompkins County Industrial Development Agency, TCIDA, and Tompkins County Development Corporation Board of Directors. I recognize this resolution serves as one of routine housekeeping and includes the appointment of Legislature Chair Shauna Black to fill the seat vacated by a retiring legislator and one of the 3 positions reserved for legislators. Non-legislator board members serve until the end of their continuing 2-year terms. I have no problem with this resolution and welcome Legislator Black to the agency's board. However, I believe it appropriate to advance at this time the initiative I first raised during privilege of the floor at the legislature's meeting of January 18th. I propose the legislature revive a proposal advanced through your committee in resolution 9855 1 year ago. That resolution, later tabled and never acted upon, would have requested the New York State Legislature expand membership on the TCIDA from 7 members to 9. I propose TCIDA membership expand to permit the county legislature to designate one of the additional at-large positions for membership by a representative of local municipalities outside the city of Ithaca, and the second position for similar membership by a representative of local school districts. Recent developments have proven to me, a municipal town board member, that those who serve rural communities lack a needed voice in local development decisions, most particularly when the TCIDA board approves payment in lieu of taxes, pilot agreements, abatement plans that directly impact the financial health of both municipal governments and local schools. Neither party holds a seat at the table. This legislature has traditionally reserved a seat on the TCIDA board for the city of Ithaca. The city holds that seat today. Our rural towns and villages should not suffer as a second-class citizen. Accordingly, I urge your committee at some future date to return discussion to the concept first advanced through resolution 9855. I believe TCIDA expansion remains needed now, despite the proposal's earlier tabling after your county legislature answered the requests of organized labor by other means. Be advised that I intend to pursue my initiative through both my own Enfield Town Board and through the Tompkins County Council of Governments, TCAT, on which I sit as Enfield's representative. Rural interests deserve a voice on the TCIDA. I hope you will give us that voice. Respectfully submitted, Robert A. Lynch, Councilperson, Town of Enfield. That cost you a journalism degree from me. You can thank my father for all that reading. Next, changes to the agenda. Do we have any? The only real change I have is Katie Borgello is here. She's going to do a report as well, which is usually on the agenda, but I skipped it. So we're going to add that in. It's going to come right under Planning and Sustainability Department. Let's go to the County Administrator's report. Lisa, there she is.
Good morning, everybody. The only report I have is just, it's very brief, and that's just to say that we're concluding our search for the next Workforce Development Board director, and soon we'll be able to announce the preferred candidate. That process has to go through a vote by the Workforce Development Board to recommend the appointment by the county administrator, and then the county administrator takes the appointment for confirmation to the legislature. So we'll be working through that process, and we expect that will be happening in February and March. So soon we'll be making the announcement, and that's all I have to report at this point.
All right. Does anybody have any questions for Lisa? Okay. Thank you very much, Lisa.
Thank you.
Committee members' reports. What am I looking at here, Kathy?
Just if any committee members have anything they want to report on.
Nothing. I don't have anything. Annie's still out. All right. Moving on. Planning and Sustainability Department. We have a resolution I'd like to knock out before we do anything. So the resolution is a budget adjustment, Northside Apartments, Market View, Carpenter Park Apartments, and Community Housing Trust Scattered Sites 2020, ID number 10661. Can somebody move that, please? Shauna Black. We have a second by Greg. All right. Who would like? There she is. Hi, Megan.
Morning.
You want to give us a report on this one?
Yeah, very briefly, because the Community Housing Development Fund in funding affordable housing development projects, those projects often take some time to secure their funding, tax credits, other things, get building permits, get through local processes, and be at a place they can draw their awards. So unfortunately, we rarely fall neatly into budget years, although we have to, when you all authorize awards, you have to place them in a budget year. So this is just moving all the projects that weren't able to draw their awards in 2021 that involve county funds, moving that money forward into 2022.
Very cool. I have a question. It says the 82 new affordable units replace 70 existing. So were the 70 just like dated? Like, did we tear those down? What do we do with that?
Yeah, I don't know if you've been over in the North Side neighborhood, but there hasn't really been much affordable, much public housing construction since the 70s. It was kind of the last burst of activity. So those units, they are old. The Housing Authority has tried to keep things in as good condition as possible over the years, but through this funding program, the RAD program through HUD, looking at those units, they found that it was, more cost effective for the long-term, durability of these units to rebuild instead of rehabilitating. Although I will note that they're not funded through us. There are other public housing units in the city that are being renovated because they did not need a full tear down and reconstruction.
Is very cool. And that did not seem to cost us very much money. I mean, the award was obviously much larger than that. But.
That's correct. The Community Housing Development Fund's kind of magic is in leveraging other funds. Development is very expensive. And so our money is usually just a fraction of the money going into many of these projects. So it's first money oftentimes. So it's very effective leveraging, helping people be competitive for other grants and tax credits and even conventional financing.
No, congratulations again. It looks great. Anybody have any questions? All right. Well, thanks. So it's been moved and seconded. Let's put that for a vote. Does that have to be roll call, Kathy?
No, it does not.
Okay. So all those in favor? Any opposed? No. So we're good. All right. Thank you very much, Megan. Where's Katie? Is she here? There she is. Hi, Katie. Thanks for offering to give a report. I'm sorry I missed that. So,
yeah, thanks for accommodating me. I wanted to just update people on where we're at with some of the broadband stuff. And Nick is on the call too, so he can answer questions as well. But I just wanted to let you know that back in December, following a resolution that the legislature passed, asking us to issue an RFP for a physical infrastructure study of broadband. We issued the RFP, and Greg Potter, Nick, and I also, we reviewed all the proposals, and we conducted interviews with the top 2 firms. And during the course of the interviews, we learned that the scope of work that we were asking for in the RFP was an exact match to what one of the firms actually was doing under a contract already for New York State. The Public Service Commission, their staff, the Department of Public Service, is administering these contracts. And so it gave us pause. We didn't want to, duplicate payments for something that is already happening. And so what we kind of switched approach to reach out to the state to find out whether we would have good access to that data, and when we would have access to the data, and whether it would meet, what we were hoping to achieve from these funds. And so we've been in contact since then with the state. They've been working to negotiate with all of the internet service providers in New York State. Lots of lawyers involved trying to figure out what can be shared, what can't be shared, when it can be shared. And we've received almost 100% confirmation that we will be able to have this information in a format that we could use it. So we're kind of in a wait and see mode still. We're waiting to find out for sure whether we'll get that information. Right now, it seems like it's going to be going through NISAC, is going to be kind of the collector of all this information and sharing it out to counties. They do know, the Department of Public Service staff know that we want this information as soon as possible. So they are actually actively working on a handful of counties who've asked for this information early to get us, kind of a limited subset that would still be useful of the data, showing the infrastructure gaps that exist in the rural areas of the county. But they are on a timeline where they expect by mid-May, the full suite of rural urban data showing underserved and unserved areas will be available to the whole state. So they're on a fast timeline. They're trying to get this information out to us. So that's where we're at right now. We're waiting because it didn't seem prudent to do our own physical infrastructure study that's going to pay for the exact same thing that we're going to get from the state. And then just a couple other broadband updates to let you know about. Apparently the federal government was totally overwhelmed by the NTIA grant, the National Telecom and Information Administration grant application that Southern Tier 8 regional group put in for us. That included, you might recall, a bunch of our unserved and underserved households. But I guess the federal government received so many requests that they're looking at potentially not awarding those until 2023. So updating you on that. And also it appears that the broadband money that is included in the infrastructure bill is likely going to be going directly to the internet service providers for expanding service. So that's where we're at with that. We're tracking a lot of the different broadband funding sources. I've actually just recently put in a request to Southern Tier 8 to have their staff try to kind of track this for our region to help us understand what the opportunities might be, what the deadlines are. There's a lot going on, as you well know, on the topic of broadband right now, and we want to make sure we're poised to capitalize on those.
All right. Please.
Katie, can you tell us how I understand the funding for broadband is going to the ISPs, but how is there going to be accountability, and are the smaller ISPs also going to receive funding for that?
You know, Shauna, I don't know the answer to those questions. I don't think all of those details are even issued yet. I just thought it was interesting that they were probably not going to be going to local government to work with an ISP, which is what a lot of the grants do right now. But like that, the RDOF awards, which I can't remember what it stands for, those went directly to ISPs as well. So it is a funding mechanism that they have established and has actually seemed like it's worked pretty well.
Okay. I mean, I was just concerned that if there was funding that was going directly to Spectrum, you know, I would want to make sure that we see results from that.
Yeah, I think more to come. Like I said, we're just tracking this, and as the federal infrastructure guidelines come out, we'll be able to see more what kind of transparency there is with that process.
Great. Thank you.
Katie, we were shifting our model to an assessment of who doesn't have broadband in the county. Is that the numbers you're talking about from the state, or are we doing that separately? I know Nick's there too. It's not her.
I can jump in. Yeah, that basically the state is doing exactly what we proposed to do.
Okay.
Doing a survey.
Sure
yeah, they're sending crews out to drive every public street and look at the poles and determine if there's fiber cable, and then, you know, log that all on a map. So yeah, it's 100% overlap of what we were doing.
And Katie, you probably said this, so I'm sorry. What was their timeline for that?
They are saying mid-May they will have, it's going to be an interactive website where you can go in and click on whatever property you're interested in and find out whether it has service and who the internet provider is for that service. And I'm not sure how it's going to link in, but it's got two components. What the state's doing, they're doing this physical infrastructure survey, like we had talked about doing, and then they're also doing this assessment of kind of the quality and pricing and kind of the less physical, tangible aspects of internet. They're doing a survey of people in New York State to provide input. So I'm not sure how exactly that's going to work with the maps. And I've actually been trying to, when I talk with the state people, I tell them that we would really appreciate some further guidance once we get this data. Like, what do we do with it to be really impactful and as fast as possible to address our needs?
Cool. All right. Does anybody have any other questions on the broadband? Okay, let's move on to the tourism. So I guess we'll go to Nick.
Hi.
Thank you, Katie.
Yeah, thanks. So in your packet, you should have the bi-monthly update for December and January in there. Top headline is room tax for fourth quarter of 2021 came in, and we're closing out the year in a pretty strong position, I'd say. Definitely exceeded our expectations that we had in our budget for fourth quarter. We are continuing to see the trend where the revenue from smaller properties, the ones with 10 or fewer rooms, is growing. This is in spite of the higher tax rate that went into effect earlier, almost a year ago. So we're seeing still continued growth in that segment of the market, whereas the hotels, properties with 11 or more rooms, relatively flat, but catching up to where they were in 2019. So encouraging news there. Room tax is doing all right. However, everything basically, you may recall our room tax fourth quarter ends November 30th. So really none of this takes into account anything that had to do with the emergence of the Omicron variant. We're monitoring that. We're looking at some data that's starting to come back on national and local data. We definitely think we'll see some impact from that in the first quarter of 2022. So that, which includes December, January and February. So stay tuned on that front. We know, locally there are some hotels and properties that are certainly feeling the effects of travel plans changing due to that situation. Also continuing to monitor the workforce situation in tourism and hospitality sector. The sector continues to operate at a reduced workforce compared to pre-COVID. This is roughly 1,100 jobs fewer than there were for the same month in 2019. Which is a bit astonishing, frankly, that it's continuing to be as productive as it is with the fewer people working there. So that'll be a continuing theme, I think, of this year is addressing workforce challenges and attracting more people to work in this sector. A couple other program updates. Arts and Culture Organization Development Grants, the ACAD grants. The final applications were due back in December. There's a committee that's currently reviewing those applications, and we expect we'll have a slate of awards to bring to STPB in February. So that should come up to the legislature in early March. So so stay tuned for that. We had $424,000 of requests and total funding allocated in the budget of $255,850. Other grants are also open right now. We have a spring round of grants for the tourism project grants, tourism marketing grants, and community celebrations grants that are all currently accepting applications. In addition, the new Tompkins Outdoors grant is accepting applications. It's also a two-step process. So we've got about a half dozen organizations that have submitted letters of interest in that category as well. So if you know anybody out there who's considering planning an event or something that could help bring more visitors to Tompkins County, please send them my way, and I'll help them connect to some of the resources we have that can make those plans happen. So, and then finally, just a update for STPB. In January, the board elected Brett Bossard to serve as the chair and Doug Levine to serve as the vice chair for 2022. Those are one-year terms. And Kelly Cartmill, who had been the chair from 2018, is still on the board, but just not serving in that capacity for this year. So the board was very grateful for Kelly's service through this very tumultuous time for the sector and the STPB. So yeah, in the remainder of the report, you'll see an updated table with our allocations for 2022 now in there. You'll see our event calendar, which has a few of the community celebrations that got awarded back in the fall. And in the final page, there is the room tax report. Also in your packet, there was a short-term rental update. I didn't have a presentation prepared about this, but this was something I think that came out of a previous HED meeting and requesting to see some of these numbers plotted out over time. The last report from October was looking just at data from October 1st. So now we have a few more months of data in there, and you can kind of see some of the I don't know if you call them trends, but at least a few points along the last few months of how what's changed. So with that, I don't have anything else to report. I'm happy to answer any questions.
I have like 3 questions, Nick.
Sure.
So the total room tax here, 2021, was about $3 million.
Yep.
So that's close to what 2019, how far off of 2019 is that?
Yeah, good question. Let me pull up the report that has previous years on here. 1 second. It's pretty close to 2019. So yeah, so 2019 total for 2019 was $2,938,361. So
wow, we're doing better, right?
Yeah, it's ahead of 2019.
Nice. That's cool. My other question is a lot of zeros here in the 2022 column. That's just because we haven't given out the money yet, right?
Yeah, exactly. This is pretty much how this report looks every January. Because we haven't. The only contracts we have in place right now are for our annual programs. That's like the Convention Visitors Bureau, the Downtown Ithaca Alliance to do the festivals program, the beautification program, things like that we do, on a year-to-year basis. Once we have some grant awards that are approved, this table will fill out. And you'll see more of those numbers fill in. So
it's number 6, City of Ithaca.
Yeah,
120,000.
Yes.
Thank you for.
Well, so this is the new payment that we're doing for the conference center. So you'll recall way back when in early March of 2020, there was a resolution to support the conference center through a contribution of room tax, which was set at 4% of the annual collection. So we make that payment twice a year, once in the summer and once in the winter. So this is the amount for 2020. In 2021, I should say, is the first year that was actually that agreement was in place. That's 4% of the overall room tax collection.
Cool. I think that's it for me. So Greg and Shauna, do you have any questions?
I do not.
All right. Anything else to add, Nick?
Not right now. We'll be bringing future updates forward. I expect we'll have a big budget adjustment here in the next few weeks. So, all right. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, Nick.
Bye-bye.
All right, we're going to move on to resolutions here. Resolution A here is appointments to the Industrial Development Agency and Tompkins County Development Corporation Board of Directors, ID number 10647. Can someone move that? Greg moves it. Shauna seconds. Any discussion? Let's see. So this would appoint Rich John from the legislature, Shauna Black, Mike Sigler. So I know it's a little weird that we're going to be voting for ourselves, but that really can't be helped. And it also resolves Todd Brewer, Jeff Gorski, John Guttridge, and Faith Vavra. That will make up the IDA. It's been moved in second, and all those in favor? All those opposed? Passes unanimously. Resolution B, amendments of the 2022 Tompkins County budget to reflect an amendment to the 2021-2022 budget for the Ithaca Tompkins County Transportation Council and authorization to implement the amendment. ID number 10656. Let's see, it's been moved by Shauna, seconded by Greg. I'm just going to read the result, if that's okay with you. Is that all right, Kathy, if I just read the result?
Sure.
Resolved on recommendation of the Housing and Economic Development Committee that the FHWA budget for the Ithaca Tompkins County Transportation Council as presented in attachment A to this resolution be amended in the 2022 Tompkins County budget, and that the county finance director be authorized to expend such funds for the period from April 1st, 2021 through March 31st, 2022. It looks like the total revenues are $313,863. Total expenses, imagine that, it matches, $313,863. All right, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor? All those opposed? That passes unanimously as well. All right. Moving along, Ithaca Area Economic Development. We have report and discussion of the IAED monthly report, January 2022. There she is. Hi, Heather.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Nice to see you virtually today, at least. IAED's report is in the packet. I'm happy to take questions on that. I have a couple of updates. and all of my excitement to get out the IDA accomplishments, which are also attached in your packet, I forgot one of our projects. So we actually at the IDA had 8 projects last year with a total of $289 million in new investment, 139 new jobs to be created, 502 new housing units, 15 megawatts of solar, over $1.6 million awarded to support the Community Housing Development Fund, and $6.5 million in new payroll for a projected 69.5 or projected 139 new jobs over the next 3 years. So more impressive than we even had originally reported. I wanted to update the IDA had its audit kickoff meeting yesterday. The IDA and the Development Corporation are audited by Insero. They're a component unit of the county's audit. So we did that yesterday. One of the things that came up is that we have had for many years a comment on our audit report that in violation of best practices published by the New York State Public Authorities Accountability Act, and best practices as noted by the authority's budget office, the IDA has had a majority of elected officials on the IDA board, which is not best practice and not recommended. The auditors noted that in 2021, the county legislature did decide to reduce the county elected officials from 4 to 3, and then they added Todd Brewer, a representative from the labor unions. So likely that note in our audit will not, you won't see that for the 2021 audit because we are now in compliance. I will also note that the city seat is actually an at-large seat that because we have about a third, generally about a third of our projects are in the city of Ithaca, the IDA has recognized the need to have that continuity there with some representation from the city, given the number of projects. I also wanted to update you on our broadband initiative. We did receive the ARC grant to put in a 17-mile dark fiber line up to serve redevelopment of the power plant in Lansing and then pick up additional users along the way. We spent some time over 2021 with a national consultant putting together an RFP to identify a partner that would actually build and manage the line for us. We did also in 2021 transfer that grant from IAED to the TCAT Foundation. We are just finishing up. We finished interviews with the respondents to that RFP and are getting ready to make some recommendations to the foundation board about a chosen partner for that broadband line. So that project will be moving forward. We've received a draft of the water and sewer study that was a little bit delayed as a result of COVID. We're hoping to wrap that up and then do presentations to all the providers and municipalities. It's really meant to be used as a planning document for resiliency and redundancy projects. And we think that it'll be done in time to really capitalize on some of the federal investment monies, infrastructure monies that will be available. And I will be traveling to the International Economic Development Council's Leadership Conference on Sunday. I'll be presenting on a panel sandwiched between the city of San Diego and the city of Seattle. City of Ithaca will be presenting on our work to support a zero carbon economy, in particular the work at the IDA. So I'm really excited to be representing Ithaca and Tompkins County with some of the big players in all of this planning for a carbon neutral economy. So, and I've really enjoyed presenting to HED over the past couple of years and working with everybody. I'm looking forward to moving over to PDEC this year. And I'd be happy to take any questions you might have.
Sean.
Heather, I know that the legislature over the past 4 years has really wanted to prioritize workforce development and training to the end that we did add substantial funding so that you could hire a position. I didn't see in your report where workforce development and training was mentioned, and wanted to see why not.
We continue to participate with the Workforce Development Board and our workforce partners. The county, and I'm very thankful, the county did restore the 5-year funding commitment that was reduced as a result of COVID. It was a little over $40,000. It is in our work plan to hire a workforce development staff person this year. And we're in the process of developing that job description and moving that forward. We have started last year some work with the advanced manufacturing employers on a sector-based roundtable. And the big issue that we hope to address with them is workforce. We started the process in the fall, and just, due to shifting responsibilities, we'll probably pick that up more heavily when that workforce staff person is on board.
Okay, I just want to make sure that it's very clear that that is a priority of this legislature.
It's absolutely a priority of ours too. And, we do have a business services staff person that, provides workforce assistance and referrals to workforce. We've got a manufacturer that's moving into our community that is hoping to have 40 employees by June. And so we've been working very diligently with him and his team to provide referrals and resources in a similar manner to this new staff person would be doing.
Okay. And when do you expect for the workforce person to be hired?
It's on my long list of things to do. And as soon as we get that job description out and we start getting applications, that will drive, that process. As you know, we've got a little bit of a talent crisis in this community. I've seen with the Workforce Development Board director search, the county administrator search, we'll be turning over every stone that we can to try and fill this position in a quick manner.
Thank you.
I have a couple of questions. Hi, Heather. I've got a couple of questions. The water and sewer study, are we targeting a certain area of the county, or?
The sewer study looked at all of the providers in the county and looks at where there is, issues that could be addressed. Prioritizes planning projects throughout the county, and in particular in areas that can support more dense development.
Cool. My other question is, this year was really great for us. I'm wondering, is there anything coming up this year that you could share with us yet, or is it still kind of like percolating?
Oh, knock on wood, I'm knocking on wood. The Chainworks redevelopment project, which I continue to say will be our biggest opportunity for redevelopment in our community in our lifetimes. Hopefully we'll start to move forward as David Lubin takes title to the property, hopefully in the first quarter. It's been a long process, and it's going to be a long process. So I'm anticipating that there will be some around Chainworks. I'm seeing a little bit of grumbling of a couple of projects coming up on the West End and downtown. So I think that, all indications point to we'll have a good year again this year.
Chainworks, has that been the big hold up there? Is the title to the property? That's what's been kind of...
the modification of the record of decision with the Department of Environmental Conservation over the cleanup of the parcel has been really, over the past couple of years, a very long process.
You know, I don't know if you can share this. Is he planning to do that in parts? Like, it's a big property, so.
Yeah, it will definitely be done in phases.
All right. Well, cool. Anybody else have any questions? Oh, there she is. Sorry, Ann. Go ahead.
Thanks, Mike. And I apologize for coming in late. I don't have a good excuse, except for some reason I thought this meeting started at 10. So I really apologize, and I should know that. So with that being said, getting back to what we were talking about, I did catch most of Heather's presentation and the discussion. So I want to just follow up on the workforce person. So Heather, correct me if my memory is not accurate, that after we allocated that money, it took almost a year for the workforce person to get hired. And then they were let go, I think, within 4 months because of our funding went down that we allocated you because of COVID. And so you have, unless you're going to change it, you have the job description. And so I know you have a lot of things to do, but we really don't want to wait another year before this person gets hired again. I guess I could speak for myself anyway. Is that accurate?
I want to be clear that the county did not allocate funding for a workforce staff person. We did hire somebody right as COVID hit, and it became very clear that the position was going to be untenable given, you know, all that was happening with COVID. There wasn't an ability to get that person out into the community to even work. And so we did cut the position. The county did cut some of our funding, and the funding has been restored. It is a priority. I've got 13 priority workforce items in our work plan this year. And I think an additional one was added around housing. So now I've got 14. I've got a staff of 3. Our marketing and communications person has left. So, you know, we've got a nostril above water. We're swimming, we're treading water. We're doing the best that we can with the staff that we have and the hours in the day that we have. It is definitely a priority for us, and we're shifting things as best we can.
I'm just hoping that you put up higher on your priority list of actually getting the staff that can help you do this work versus, you know, and was that accurate that it took a year to hire somebody initially?
I'm not sure. I started my position in August. We hired somebody in January. Okay.
So again, as Shawna said, we'd like, you know, that to be a priority. So can that be a priority that person get hired to help with the workforce goals?
Yes, it is a priority, Ann.
Okay, thanks. And the TC3 is starting their workforce program. So at least for my sake, I'm hoping that they can help participate, you know, as much as they can get on the ground floor, because we're just setting up the first meeting, you know, in the next month or 2. So thank you. And I would say for HED, we can talk about, or not HED, PDEC, we could talk later about, you know, reporting on that when we get a chance outside of this meeting. So thank you.
Great. Any other questions? All right. That's it, Heather. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Have a nice day. Advisory board appointments. ID 10625. Do I have a mover? Sean and Greg will second, I guess. That sounds good. We have the Community Housing Fund, Henry Granison, County Legislator, no set terms. And Gregory Mezzi, County Legislator, alternate, no set terms. All those in favor?
You need to do a roll call.
Oh, because, yep. So all those in favor, roll call vote. Please call the roll.
Greg Mezzi,
Yes.
Shauna Black,
Yes.
Ann Koreman,
Yes.
Mike Sigler.
Yes.
That was unanimous.
There we go. Thank you. And that is the conclusion of our business, unless somebody has something else. I see Fernando's on the call. Right.
I was here for the ITCTC item, but stayed around to listen to the other interesting presentations. Thank you.
Hey, no problem, Fernando. Thanks for coming. All right, well, that does it for us. Do I have a motion to adjourn? Shauna, or we'll say Greg, and Shauna seconds. All those in favor of adjourning? That doesn't need to be a roll call, right? All right, so we're adjourned. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Mike.
And we will have a new chair come the next month, so.